Dual Side is a map that favors Terran over Protoss. We've seen this in the past, especially a 1v1 play is so strong on this map, but in general just a map that Protoss is struggling quite a bit. This works in favor of our Slayers player. He's starting to the right. It is the Terran.
Slayers MMA.
Oh yeah.
The win rate for Protoss versus Terran on this map, I believe, is 41, 42%, something like that. Pretty heavily Terran favored.
And to the bottom left, we have his opponent. This is the StarTale player, and so far it has not been a good up and down series for the StarTale guys. Only Curious was able to get out of his group. Every other player for StarTale is now in Code A. What about this guy? It is the Protoss
StarTale Ace.
Never expected him to do this strategy on this map. He is going to go for, it looks like, a Nexus first. This is not what I expected to see on this map by a Protoss ever. Okay, no, he's going to do the double gas build with the 15 gate. He had several more probes rallied that he canceled, so I guess he changed his mind on what he wanted to do. He's going to do the double gas with 2 probes in each build, which I think is actually really good for this map. So it makes sense. MMA on the other
in general, if you actually have 2 gas and you put 2 probes in there instead of just one with 3, you get from each of those simulators about 80% of the gas mining. So that puts you actually in a really good position. You have to sacrifice a few more minerals and 1 additional probe, but you have a lot more gas than when you rely only on 1 simulator.
MMA is taking a gas. He has hidden his build by going for an early depot block. However, Ace has just now sent his scouting probe out, so that depot block not going to be too important. He won't be able to see anything, and we will see a factory go down now for MMA at the corner of his main base. We may see a similar build from him that we saw from Hart on this map. Like you mentioned earlier, that type of strategy, the 1 barracks, 1 factory, and 1 starport type build is quite strong here. It's a good map for it.
What do you personally think is the best way as a Protoss to defend against the 1 base all-in? We had a lot of players trying to rush Colossi. At the same time, you can try to go for Immortal defense. What do you think is the best way to actually hold this?
It depends on the situation. For example, with the timing that Killer scouted what he was up against last game, he didn't have enough time to go for Colossi. He had to go for additional gateways, and he struggled to get them out. It depends. If you know early on that you're going to face this, going for Colossi is the better choice. But if you have gone gates before your robo, or you don't see right away, or you're not sure if your opponent's going to commit, you hesitate for a minute, then you don't have that option. But I think Colossi is definitely the best way to hold a Marine heavy push like we saw last game. However, if your opponent has enough siege tanks, the Colossi can be less and less effective depending on how they're used. I think that with the new Immortal range, a lot of people think that, oh, okay, Immortals are the best, and even Blizzard is saying so, that's why they're trying to change this. I think it's a personal preference, but I personally prefer Colossi.
The one thing when you use Immortals that we see from a lot of players, and which also makes me wonder a little bit, the problem that I see is that a lot of them don't really micro their Immortals too well. They don't focus on the tanks, they just target Marines.
Oh wow, he's actually going to get 2 Marines here. Well, he should. Some hesitation, only gets 1.
Hesitation here.
Cloak going down, we're seeing the exact same build here for MMA so far than the build that we saw last game. But you're right, even on the last game with Killer, he didn't target the Immortals right away on the siege tanks. He lost some without targeting. I think the reason may have been because he didn't think he could have closed the distance quickly enough. But with the Stalker, what he saw was a naked barracks, and that's going to lead him to believe that, okay, probably not going to be a Marine tank all in because he doesn't have a reactor, which is really cool because now MMA is adding 2 additional barracks, so the reactor and skipping that allows him to have that 50 extra gas. He's making a tech lab on the barracks, or excuse me, on the factory, but he's now making that reactor on the barracks, and he's hidden from his opponent what he's up to until now.
Once again, we have the probe coming in, and as soon as the scout is dead, he starts his add-on. So it's pretty interesting to see that MMA timed this so well that Ace was not able to scout these add-ons. He has no clue here.
He actually started the add-on before the probe came up, but the probe just couldn't get up the ramp far enough to see that. That's really weird. But I mean, it looks like MMA has practiced enough. The coolest part about this is he doesn't make a bunker. That's pretty brave.
Nice. He spots the Banshee immediately, puts a pylon to the bottom right, and now he knows that there's going to be a Banshee play. The observer is
here.
out. Yeah.
It's here, but it's not in position yet.
He's trying to occupy him here. He's getting additional tanks, and Banshee is preparing this really strong push against Protoss.
targeting down these probes is the Banshee. Up to 3 kills now, will float into the main, or at least attempt to. He's trying to find an out. Second Banshee has been produced as well. She is floating across the map right now. Not going to be able to... Whoa, he may lose his Banshee. In fact, he's not controlling it. He's going to lose a Banshee. Well, unless these stalkers don't shoot. This has been pretty crazy. Okay.
That was a close one nonetheless. Yeah, the stalkers for a second seemed a little bit surprised that the Banshee would stick around.
The push has been spotted now.
Another one comes in, though. We have one more Banshee taking probes apart. With 3 kills already, 7 in total have been killed. Immortals, that's what Ace is resorting to.
Yeah, he's going for the Immortals, adding additional gateways as well, going up to 5, just like Killer. Uh-oh, these units are a little bit off guard in the middle of the map. The tank is the most important part here, because even though the Stalkers can kite Marines, they cannot kite the tank. Nice position here on this Banshee, trying to take out this pylon. He's got to be careful, though. And he does not repair the Banshees right away, so he
finds the sweet spot.
Wow.
But to the right, we have a little bit of an edge where he could take down the Banshee. And look, the Stalkers are coming in from behind. Nice! Well done by Ace.
Yeah, but now he's going to have his Stalkers a little bit out of position. He now has to circumvent the army. The Terran army from MMA is actually going to try to chase these Stalkers, which for him is losing. He's losing a lot of time. He needs to make this push attack work. This is a timing attack.
But MMA is able to catch him off guard here. 1, 2, 3, die immediately. He's even taking down the 4th.
I can't believe he found them. Wow, that
Killing
ended up
4 Stalkers.
That ended up worth it for him, because if he had not gotten them, then his push would have been so delayed. It was a risk by both players, one to hide the Stalkers, the other one to chase them. This is scary because right now he does have 2 observers out. If he loses those, though, he's going to have to deal with the cloak with this push. The siege tank count now up to 3. He's making a 3rd Banshee right now. The harassment does continue. He's actually going for a pylon over here. I'm not sure how much I like that because he's wasting cloak energy.
He's moving into the main base once again, trying to kill a few additional probes, and he's pulling it off. But the Banshee will have to face these Stalkers soon. The Observer is out of position, but here it is.
He's trying to catch the Banshee again. I feel MMA could be capitalizing on these moments a little bit more when these units are trying to catch the Banshees. Looks like the Banshee will in fact escape. Continue to harass with the natural, though, and it looks like MMA is just out multitasking Ace here with his harassment.
Oh, he's moving in with the Marines, and the tanks takes another 4 Stalkers apart. I have to say that he's doing so much damage with this. I'm really surprised that Ace is over and over again caught with a few units, with his pants down basically, not paying attention too much to his units.
Oh, look at this position he's going to get in here. There's only 1 Immortal available on the low ground in position.
It's just so hard for Ace to defend here. MMA is everywhere, harassing the main base, harassing the mineral line at the natural, and now attacking, pulling SCVs.
He's pulled all of his SCVs, and he's going to move in. 3 Immortals now at the natural. He traps a few Marines, but only a few. He hold positions his units. His Immortal going to be targeted down by Banshees.
Oh, wow, that's bad.
A terrible engagement here.
This early is really a problem for him.
And with this many SCVs in the mix, he can repair his tanks, he can add so much extra DPS, so much buffer against the Zealots, so the Banshees can do the real damage in the back.
He's controlling the ramp here. He has control over the ramp at this point.
The Stalkers are going to try to catch these tanks on siege, and he will, but I don't think he can fight this.
He's crushing him from 2 sides. It's MMA going to die to this. He's being sandwiched. The siege tanks are nearly gone. He's going for the Banshees right now. A few more Stalkers on the high ground, shooting at the bottom, and he is taking him apart.
Oh my god!
Wow! MMA! He's caught as he's unsieged the tanks, and MMA losing his entire army and all these SCVs.
A big gamble by Ace, but the game is over now. I mean, I thought when I saw the Stalkers moving forward, he didn't even know the tanks were on siege, but he was like, all right, going for a flank now, and it was the best possible case. Even if the tanks were sieged, it would have been the best way for him to fight there. But as they were unsieged, he was very fortunate. He got really lucky.
MMA, he killed the Immortals, but there were so many Stalkers, and when the flank that Ace started, he did so well, attacking from 2 sides and warping units onto the high ground to attack from 3. This was really a good decision, but now MMA, a little bit unlucky, has to fend off this army, and Wolf, guess what? I don't think he'll be able to do it.
He has no chance. It's more than double the supply for our Protoss player. He's got the better composition here as well. Zealots taking out these Marines, no problem. Banshee's coming here with Cloak. He tries to target the Observer. It's microed back, and that's it. GG.
And Ace is like, well, I'm proving myself today. I'm pulling off the first win. And he's happy. He's like, yeah, what up, son?
An aggressive expansion build from Ace. Holds off a tough all-in. It goes for the counterattack. Great positioning with his stalkers, great decision making with how he was going to fight that. I didn't think it was going to work out quite so well. I mean, I thought when I saw it coming, I was like, maybe this works. This is the best way you could possibly fight this, but with the tanks on siege, wins the battle. The Zealots coming in at the perfect angle. Oftentimes when players engage, just like we saw Squirtle, and even Naniwa, sometimes facing an MVP's play where he goes for this type of push with the Zealots caught in the back, or he sends some of his units too early. Ace did not do that. In fact, he did it perfectly. None of his Zealots were caught. They were constantly doing the DPS they needed. So were the Stalkers. The Immortals came in and did their targeting. Great play there by Ace, cleaning up that attack. I couldn't believe it.
It's an upset for MMA, definitely. He is one of the huge favorites here in this group, but right now he's down a game and he has to be very, very careful. Ace just proved that he is not only good to pull off some ceremonies, he had good games in the past, but I have to admit that for me personally, he's one of the underdogs in the group. But as we said earlier, these groups are really, really stacked, so
and we've seen
it comes
Ace
down to the shape that you're in at the specific day, and if you have a bad day, you can't just be suddenly in Code A, even though you might be Code S material.
Yeah, and Ace has actually, we haven't seen him in a while. He has not been able to make as many appearances recently. He played in GSTL, and he has not been showing as many games in international events, for example, like MMA has. So he's kind of been training. He's in the Startail house right now, building his skills back up, getting to the level that he needs to be at to defeat this group. We're going to take a 5-minute break. You have something to add first?
Yeah,
looks like.
just something. Historically speaking, this was actually Ace's worst matchup by far, and he played on dual side, and he defended this, so really impressive here, and we'll see how he's actually going to approach the next games, if he's able to, just build on the basis that he currently just has. So we have a quick break, 5 minutes, and then we are back with MKP against Killer.